Hello. Today we're going to take a look at the business license demonstrations. That's one of the general government modules that we currently have available. There are several integrated applications and they all share a common database of names and addresses. So just to give you an idea, if you wanted to, you could look up a person and you can look up a person if you know part of the name, part of the address, or any combination. And once you get to the person record, you can see all the records. So if there are any licenses, you would simply select the license tab and you could double click and get to the detail on that particular business license. But in addition, you can see building permits, code violations, tax bills, utility bills, all that this one person has. So you're not having to add the same name to different databases. It's one integrated database so that the name's only entered in once. In addition to looking up by person, you can also do the exact same inquiry if you know the property ID. So if you know any bit of information about the property, the ID, the address, the legal description, any combination, you can get to the parcel and then you can see what's on this particular property. So if there were licenses at this address, you would just hit license, but you can see if there's utility accounts, building permits, code violations, tax bills, all tied to this one property database. So it's one integrated database, and business license is one of many applications that we have under the general government suite. So let's take a look at it. The way our menus are set up are things you do on a daily basis are under the daily tab. Things you do, your reports, those are under this tab. We do keep unlimited history. All of our reports you can print to the screen, you can email, you can put in Excel, so all those capabilities are available. We also have different inquiries. This is the same inquiry that we saw originally if we knew the name or the address, but we'll take a look at these in more detail later on. And the last tab is something called tables, and this is where you define your different types of licenses. And we'll take a look at this later on today as well, because you can define licenses that, they're due to renew annually, a flat dollar amount, or quarterly. You can even have a calculated license. So if your organization does like a return where the businesses have to submit, their profit, their revenue, I'll show you how you can set those all within the same business license application. So let's take a look at the information that we can track. I'm going to go ahead and select business license, and every one of these fields are searchable. So if you know part of the number, part of the address, part of the name, you can get to the record. You can also include or exclude expired licenses. This is the screen where you're going to maintain information on your licenses. If you look at the toolbar, it's like any other Microsoft product, so the navigation is identical. You can also log a support call right in the software, so you don't even have to call us. You can simply say help, log the call. You can certainly call us and we call you back, or you can chat. If you have a quick question, you can get a quick answer. This is the screen where you're maintaining information about the license. You can have several different types of licenses, all with different fees and calculations. We can sort reports based on type. We can do renewals based on type. In the setup, you can decide, do you want the system to automatically assign the license number, or do you want to do that? And you can do it by business type. Now, different statuses, depending on where they're at in your process, we've got applications been received, payment received, issue and active, pending and inactive. So those are different statuses, and we've got reports that we can pull out based on status. Now, you're going to also have some licenses that you want to do renewals on. When we look at the tables, I'll show you how you can do renewals annually. You could do them quarterly, monthly, so several different options for the renewals. You can also create business types, and I can pull reports based on that as well. Now, when we enter in the address, that's going to link it back to that parcel ID. So we're going to know for this particular address, that's how it's linked in the database. The first tab tells me information about the different dates. You can have a reference number, the date. You can track the application date, the effective date, the renewal date. You could have licenses renewing every month. You don't have to do them all on the same month. This happens to be one of those licenses that's based on a factor, or it's a calculated license. So it's based on the contractor, and so basically you can set up, it could be a flat dollar amount, or it could be a a percentage of that. But this is where you're entering in the license fee in the system. Now, the licensee. So you're going to first search your database to see if they're already in your database. If they are, you just bring down the record. If not, you can add them so they'll be there the next time one of the applications where you're looking up a person. So the name and address is just in there once. You can have a different applicant, so they could be two different people. We've also got 6 user-definable fields, and these are specific, to this business. We can also set up 6 user-definable fields specific to the license type. We also have the ability, if you want to actually invoice for this license. Most of our municipalities, they actually receipt it when they receive the money, but we do have some that want to create an invoice so that you can age it, send the invoice out, they can pay it online. We do have that capability as well. Attachments. This gives you the ability to attach any type of document to this license. So it could be a PDF, a picture, a video, anything you can attach in an email, you can attach here to the database. So you simply just describe it, attach it once, and then it's available to be viewed. You've also got unlimited notes, so you can track notes on the particular license. Now, the system also will create a license. You can do one. What we do is we've got a CAN license, but you can also do a mail merge with Microsoft Word. So you're able to merge fields from the database into a document or a letter, and we use Microsoft Word for that mail merge. But this is where you're maintaining the information. Once you get it into the system, you're going to have lots of reports. You can pull out a license report, and you can pull this out based on type, status, year, effective date, expiration dates, so you can get a listing and a report of the different licenses and businesses that you have available. As I mentioned earlier, all the reports you can print to the screen. You've got the ability to drop to Word or Excel, or you can email. You could print it to a PDF, and that's true for all the different reports that we have available. You've also got a report. You can do licenses by address. You can get a report licenses by effective date, which licenses have been paid. So you may want to run a report for your auditors. Show me the licenses that were paid this quarter, and you could say all licenses, or you could say maybe a certain type, and then you can get a listing of those licenses paid by that date. You can also do renewal notices. And this is where you could say, I want to send my renewal notices for this type of license that are due to renew this month. Or you could say, I don't really care what type of license. Let's go ahead and print all the renewal notices for this particular month. And so you print these, and you just drop them in a window envelope, and then you can just renew either by type or date at any point. So it's an easy process. Now, we can do mailing labels. Let's say you have a certain packet you need to send out, certain return forms. You can pull it out by license type, by date, renewal date. So lots of ways to pull this. Now, we can do group letters. We saw how we could do individual letters. You might want to send a letter to everybody that has a certain license that has a certain status, maybe ones that are unpaid, or that they haven't renewed. So this will do a group mail merge. So it's a Microsoft Word letter that you've created a mail merge, but you can do it to a group based on different criteria. So this gives you a way to easily communicate with the businesses that you have in your community. Now, at any point, we can print an unpaid license, so you're going to know who hasn't paid. We do have some inquiries. Here's one that you can look up. And like I said, you've got all the different options. You can look it up by the license, the type, the business type, the number, the name, the address, lots of ways to get to that record. And what this screen, this is the screen where you maintain the license, but it's look only. This is the same inquiry that you can get to from either the property ID or the name of the person. So it links everything together. There's a few other ones. We can do licenses by licensee. So basically pulling together, okay, all the different licenses so you can see the status for the different licenses and you can drill down and get payment information. So unlimited history. And then here's one you can look up by applicant. So lots of ways to get to your information. Tables, this is really where you're going to define your types of license. And under the configuration maintenance, this is where you remember those user definable fields where you can define those here and their prompts, whether or not you want it to automatically do the next available number. And if you are invoicing, what group would the licenses be under? So we do have that direct link to our accounts receivable module. Now the most important table is your license table. And this is where you're defining, okay, what do you want to call it? Do you want it to do renewals? Okay, if so, what's the frequency? You can have different frequencies. What's the type? What's the GL information? If it is one of those licenses that's based on information, here's the factor, number of contractors. And do you do it, is it a flat dollar amount? Is it a percent? Is it like a stepped rate, like the first so many pay this amount, the next range like a utility rate? So different ways to set it up on how do you want it to calculate this and whether or not there are penalties. And the other ones, you define your documents and your payment methods. So in a nutshell, that's the business license application. As I mentioned, it's one of many general government modules that we have available. And if you have any questions, please give us a call.